everyone, it's Avery, and today I'm going to be talking about what to consider before buying a rabbit. So the first thing is that rabbits are a 10+ year commitment. When you get a rabbit, as long as they're probably 2 or younger, you need to be ready for a 10-year commitment because rabbits live 10+ years. So you need to be ready to take care of them for as long as they live. And if you're thinking you'll just have them for a few years and then pass them on to some other person, don't get a rabbit because it may not be as easy as you think to pass them on. And you shouldn't get an animal if you're not planning to take care of it for the rest of its life. The next thing is don't buy from a breeder. Breeders are mass-producing rabbits, and it's not good because there's already a huge overpopulation of rabbits. Because of this overpopulation, there's so many rabbits who are in shelters and need good homes. So instead, adopt and don't shop. Also, don't buy from pet stores unless they tell you that and can prove that the rabbit is a rescue, because a lot of pet stores just have rabbits that are from rabbit mills, and those are not good. So check before you buy from a pet store. Another place you can get a rabbit is through Craigslist. Just make sure they're not breeders. So if they just say something like they have a house rabbit that they need to rehome, that's fine. That's just they're not breeding them and stuff like that. That's fine. You just don't want to get from a breeder or someone who's breeding rabbits, because that's supporting the overpopulation of rabbits, and we don't want that. Another thing is that rabbits should live inside. Now, for so many years, people have viewed rabbits as farm animals and just easy children's pets. But they're really not like that. They're not for children, which I will get to in a minute, and they're not supposed to be really outside. They will survive if you put them outside, but they most of the time will not be near as happy as if they were inside in a good sheltered environment with lots of attention and interaction. So if you're getting a rabbit, you need to really consider that. If you can bring them inside and give them a large area, which I will get to again in a minute, then great. But if you can't let them live inside, I wouldn't recommend getting in a rabbit. So the next thing to consider is that rabbits need large areas. They need a large area inside. So if they can free roam your house, that's great. Just remember you will need to bunny proof, and that can be cost a little bit, but it's not near as much as building a big hutch outside. So rabbits need at least a 2-foot by 4-foot enclosure, I believe, as recommended by the House Rabbit Society. But I think that's still small, and understand that that's just the enclosure size. They also need plenty of exercise time every day. So if you can let your rabbit free roam your house, or maybe just free roam your bedroom or just a certain part of the house, that's great, because they'll have a nice large enclosure. If you have to keep them in a cage when they're inside, just make sure it is at least 2 foot by 4 foot, and that they're getting at least 2 hours of good exercise every single day. Another thing to consider is rabbits are not children's pets. They are not for small children, and they're not starter pets as a lot of people think they are. They, like I said, are a 10-year commitment, and most 2-year-olds are not going to want to commit to 10 years of caring for your rabbit, okay? They're only 2. So I would not recommend getting a rabbit for anyone under probably 7, because they're still learning at that age. They make spurt of the moment decisions. I mean, even adults do. but especially little kids, they don't think about what they're getting into. If you do decide to get a rabbit for them, the adult who got the rabbit needs to be ready to take care of that rabbit for the rest of its life as soon as that child gets bored of taking care of it, because you don't need to get a rabbit. You should not get a rabbit that you think, well, when the kid gets bored, we'll just pass it on to someone else. No, you can't do that. That's just bad. You shouldn't get a rabbit if you're gonna do that. Quality of the enclosure. So the quality of your rabbit's enclosure is also important. You can't just get some cheap little thing. You most of the time, cages you see online or especially in pet stores are not suitable for rabbits. Those little cages you see in pet stores are not for rabbits. They advertise them like perfect for rabbits, plenty of space, but no. The only case where those would be acceptable is where your rabbit is free roaming your room or your house, and that's just like a little place where they can go to have their litter box and their food and water, but they shouldn't ever be closed into that for more than like, I don't know, like a half hour or something, unless you're like driving them somewhere. But yeah, those are just way too small, and a lot of the cages you see online are not big enough. The last cage I had before we got this new hutch was pretty small, which is a really big reason why I wanted a bigger space for Giselle. So yeah. Another reminder is that rabbits should not be on wire, and a lot of people say that rabbits getting sore hocks from wire or being harmed from wire is a myth, but think what you want, but in reality it's not a myth. It is very true. I have experienced it myself with Giselle. I put her on wire when I didn't know, and she got sore hocks, so there's proof right there. And it has happened to many other rabbits as well. If your rabbit is on wire, please do something to get them off of the wire. At least provide a good resting space where they can lay and be completely off of the wire, and work on improving that so they can eventually be completely off of that wire and will never have to go on it again, because it is very harmful for rabbits. They don't have that padding like dogs do on their paws. It's just skin and then a bone. It's like our elbow. So imagine us like going around like basically walking on our elbows on wire. Walking on our elbows in the first place would probably hurt would hurt really bad if we didn't have any padding. Like in the grass, would probably feel fine because it's like cushiony. And that's what it's like for rabbits, in the wild. That's why they're fine, and they don't get sore hocks. But our rabbits, our domestic rabbits, are starting to get lots of sore hocks because we put them on these hard surfaces with no cushion, put them on wire, and hurt so bad for their poor little hocks, and you don't want to put them on that wire. Another thing to consider is that rabbits cost a good lot of money. And I did not know this when I got a rabbit. And at first, my parents actually paid for everything she needed. I would pay for some occasional stuff like, I don't know, maybe toys. She didn't even have that many toys, so I really didn't pay for like anything. But I now pay for everything Giselle has because I want to take full responsibility of her. And I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying that whoever's rabbit it is should plan on having to pay all the money for it. So you're going to need to pay for things like hay, which if you're getting small pet select hay, that can be quite expensive, or if you're getting baled hay, that's pretty cheap. You're going to need to pay for pellets. They are cheaper when you get like big bags of them, but you don't want to get too big because they'll kind of get old before you can use it all. And you'll also need to pay for veggies, which rabbits need daily, and that's probably the most expensive part of owning a rabbit is veggies. So be prepared for that. You're also going to need to pay for their enclosure, their toys, their treats, and everything else you get them. So just consider that before you get a rabbit and make sure you have plenty of money. Another thing is you should have enough money set aside in case you have to send your rabbit to the vet. If maybe they go into GI stasis or something urgent happens, you're going to need to take them to the vet because rabbits will need vet care if something like that happens, and you need to make sure you have plenty of money set aside for that. So little 2-year-olds are not going to have that kind of money, and a lot of parents are just going to be like, I don't have the money to take the rabbit to the vet. So, well, don't get a rabbit if you don't have the money, because you need to be prepared for anything that could happen. The last tip I have for you, the thing you need to consider before getting a rabbit, is to just do tons and tons and tons of research. Watch YouTube videos. You've probably already seen them, but 101 Rabbits and Let in the Bunny are great YouTube channels, and I definitely recommend them. You can also watch my channel, and the House Rabbit Society online has a website, and they are great. There's tons of information out there. You just gotta find it. It took me a while to find all the information about rabbits. Just be careful about what you read. All those that I just mentioned, the House Rabbit Society, Let in the Bunny, and 101 Rabbits, all say true stuff. They're not lying. But if you find other people, like small channels, you want to be careful about what you're hearing. You want to probably back it up with someone else's information just to make sure it's actually true, because there are some people who aren't saying true stuff. So you just want to make sure you're listening to the right information. And another last tip I have for you is, before you actually get the rabbit, go to your local rabbit rescue, socialize with some of the rabbits a little bit if you can. Just see if you like being with them. Remember that they are prey animals, and you're gonna have to be careful with them. You can't force yourself on them. And just see if you like the rabbit, and then if you do want a rabbit, wait at least a week before actually adopting the rabbit, to make sure you still want the rabbit. Because sometimes it's just a spur of the moment thing, like, you know, when you were younger, if you're a kid like I am, you may want this toy or something, and you'd be like, oh, I want this right now. And you go, buy it, and then 2 days later, you're tired of it. It's kind of like that, and you shouldn't be tired of your rabbit in 2 days, so, and you don't want to be, so make sure you're really, really sure you want to make that commitment before you actually get the rabbit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you want to see a video on like what to do with a new rabbit, like things you need or something, let me know in the comments and I can probably do that. Please give this a big thumbs up if you liked it, and hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when we post a new video. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye.